Hello again, YouTubers. Today we are doing a basically overview, short-term review of the Traxxas Tmaxx and overall, I don't know, guess review of Traxxas themselves. This is the new Tmaxx. It actually comes with the top qualifier with Traxxas Link, where you can actually connect it to a tablet. It has a regular trim knob, but then it has a multi-function knob, and using the menu button right here, it has a menu and a set. The set is the bind button. It's supposed to say bind, but for some reason it says set. But using the menu, you can use it as a throttle exponential. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Steering exponential, braking, basically control everything on the truck that can be fine-tuned. The Tmaxx, like I said, it comes with telemetry. That's one thing that's real nice about the Traxxas Tmaxx 3.3. It does come with telemetry. The Nitro Sport does not. The Nitro Sport comes with the Traxxas, the TRX Pro 0.15. 0.15 stands for cubic inches. It's actually a 2.5 cc engine, but since they actually have a 2.5 cc engine that is actually a racing engine, they had to name it the Pro 0.15. Couple differences between the two is the Tmaxx is of course bigger. The biggest engine that Traxxas makes. 4 shocks per side for the tank right here is 125 cc's compared to the tank on the Nitro Sport as 75. This is the engine. I accidentally flipped it without. I was running it without the cover. I was fine-tuning it and everything. A couple things that have already gone bad on this is the friction material on the brakes right here. The friction material, I was going top speed and then I had slammed on the brakes, and next thing I knew, I had no brakes. So that had to be, I called Traxxas. They sent out me a new pair, but I also went to my hobby shop, and he didn't have any extras, but thankfully, big shout out to Glenn. Thank you very much. The hobby shop in Stockbridge, Georgia. If you want to go to a hobby shop around the Atlanta area, the hobby shop, it's called the hobby shop in Stockbridge. Best place you can go. Go to Glenn. He will help you out with anything you need. Another problem I had was the muffler melt, the thing that holds the resonator in place. As you can see, now I have an Allen wrench holding it in place. What happened was, right at where it bends up to go through the resonator itself to hold it in place, had broken. And I didn't notice it until I had it running, so immediately I came inside and I tried to figure something out with some aluminum twine, but it was too soft, so I went with Allen wrench, and you can see I'm lifting on it and it stays in place now, so I don't have to worry about that breaking. 2-speed transmission. Does work on AA batteries. One thing I will stress is make sure you get some rechargeable AA batteries instead of going through AA after AA, because it takes 4 AA's for the transmitter and servos and 4 AA's for the transmitter. With the Tmaxx, it comes with your suspension, fine-tuning for the suspension, glow plug and wheel. This is actually from a Hellion Dominus. That going off in the background is my DX7S Spectrum transmitter, so just disregard that. Up under, it's actually covered by some nice skid plates, but you can see axle for the front, axle for the back. One thing I read when I was getting it is a lot of people had problems with the friction pads going out within break-in. All you gotta do is take your 2mm Allen wrench. There's a little hole right here. You stick it in there. You take this wrench, but you take the smaller end. No, you actually take the bigger end. You put it on. Oops, wrong one. You take it and you put it on the nut. Oh, I actually grabbed the completely wrong wrench. But all you do is tighten it. Do it a 1/16 of a turn at a time until you get it just perfect. Mine, after I broke it in, which they have a very specific break-in procedure for this motor, what it is first tank is quarter throttle for 2 seconds, let off, and do that continue doing that until the entire tank has gone dry. Let it cool off. Do that without the body shell on. Then put the body shell back on. You are going to do the same thing, but this time half throttle for 2 seconds. And do that for an entire tank. The third break-in stage is, for the second one, you go through another entire tank, so that will be 250 cc's altogether. The tank holds 125 cc's at a time. So, and then the third part is half throttle. I believe it's half throttle with this on, but hold it for 3 seconds. And then the fourth stage, yet again, completely drain the tank. Well, not completely. Don't let it go completely dry, but leave about that much down in the bottom of the tank so it'll continue running. Just top it off. But after the first two, you let it cool down after the first two break-in stages. Once you get past those, you cannot stop. After the third break-in stage, you do not let the engine cool off. So you do the half throttle for 2 seconds with the cover on, and then you quickly refill the tank, and then you do full throttle for 2 seconds, making sure that it does not shift into second gear, because that puts a little more strain on the motor. You're wanting to take care of this motor. This is an expensive motor, about $150, $175 with the Easy Start. The Easy Start is actually a very unique feature. The blue wire is actually a glow plug wire, and there's a yellow one, and it grounds out to the engine block itself. So you don't have to put a glow plug heater on it. All you do is put it on, and it has a little motor right here. You can sort of see it, but here's the red wire, here's the black wire. So out of this you have 4 wires. The 2 for the motor and the 2 for the glow plug. This has a slide type carburetor compared to this, which has a barrel type. When it comes to re-oiling your filters, which you need to do about every 1 to 2 hours, I suggest about every 1 to 1.5 hours of use. What I have found works the greatest, Marvel Mystery Oil. Amazing shit. But basically what you do is you take it out, use some Dawn, clean it very thoroughly, and then what I do is I take the cap and I fill it up, and then I'll put this over it, and then I'll do that, and I'll let it completely soak in. Then I'll do it again, flip the filter over, and then do that again, and then use a paper towel and get rid of all the excess, making sure that when you squeeze it, there's a little bit of oil that comes out. You don't want a lot, or it's going to get into the engine and also going to make it so it can't breathe very well. After run, when you're done running it, you are definitely going to want to take all the fuel out, because the fuel is hygroscopic, meaning it will suck in moisture and it can corrode the engine parts. So what you're going to want to do is take off your air filter. First thing is take some compressed air. It's better if you have a actual air compressor, but I don't have the luxury of that right now. And just blow everything off real good. Make sure you, that was my dumbass fault. Make sure you have the air filter on so it doesn't get into the carburetor. Or just blow off all the old crap. And then after that, you're going to take out your glow plug, unplug the glow plug wire. With this one, it actually has a little black piece of plastic that will actually hold the glow plug wire in place. This one does not. So if you flip it, there's always a possibility it could come off. But you take the glow plug out, you put a quick squirt of WD-40 directly down into the engine, and then a squirt down into the carburetor, and you put the easy start on it and you spin it for 10 seconds. It'll spin very easily because there's no compression going on except on the downstroke of the engine to get rid of the exhaust, but there is no exhaust seeing that it's not running. I think I've already gone over the cons. The brake pads, the friction material coming off, that was a pain in the ass. And then the exhaust mount breaking, but that was a very easy fix. One way you can fix the the friction material on the brake pads is JB Weld. It's a very good glue. It can take up to 600 degrees. So I recommend that if you want to fix it yourself. That's what I did. Works great. Working to this day actually better than the stock glue did. They're just bonded. They're not riveted. Also, if you're the shocks can be completely, these are just the stock shocks. As you can see, I have the shims, and it's set up pretty damn stiff because I do run it on asphalt, because I'm getting it broken very well before I put it on dirt. This one is completely broken. I put in a FlySky receiver and transmitter. This is the FlySky GT3C Titanium Edition. Actually runs off a LiPo battery and recharges via USB, so that's really nice. So no double A's for this one. One really cool part about this is if it loses, watch this. This is the brake. When it pulls, it's applying the brake. If somehow this thing loses power or it loses signal, it will completely apply the brakes. So it will lock up the tires and it will stop, so you won't have a runaway. But that's with this receiver. It also has anti-lock braking system, which I'll show you what that does real quick. Watch the servo. See how it's going real quick? Basically works just like anti-lock brakes. It doesn't allow the brakes to lock up, which, seeing that this just has rear brakes, that's a really good feature because they'll lock up and then it'll just fishtail. So that's a really good feature of this. I did lose one transmitter. I gotta find it. The fuel that I recommend, go to your hobby shop and get this. Online, Traxxas sells their 20% nitromethane, 80% methanol, and I believe it's about 12 to 13% blend of castor oil and synthetic oil to lubricate everything. I will not use any fuel besides this, and on here it actually says $28.99. If you get this through Traxxas, it will be $41.99. Where I go, he actually buys it in bulk. So I believe he pays between $20 and $25 for it. So when he sells all 100 gallons, he gets between $400 and $600 profit. A lot of money. With both vehicles, you do get a little top fuel fuel container. You open this up and you do that. You want to make sure that this seal keeps sealed, because it's got a very rudimentary fuel pump. Basically, this right here, the exhaust pushes into the fuel tank, causing pressure to build up, pushing fuel to the engine. The tuning on the 3.3, the high speed screw is tighten it all the way down and then 4 complete turns out. The Nitro Sport is tighten it all the way down. Do not tighten it till it's completely snug. You'll feel it when it wants to stop. Don't go past that, because there's a little brass fitting. If you fuck it up, it's not going to run. But 2.5 turns out, but I've actually learned about 2 1/4 does just right, and then you can set it from there. With this motor, it is actually normal to get between 300 and 320 degrees. So if you see that, that is not abnormal. Another thing I will suggest 100% to get is a infrared thermometer that has the little laser, so you can measure temperatures. I get right up on it so I can read my temperatures to make sure that the engines aren't overheating. This one has never exceeded about 290 degrees. And it said this one usually runs at about 270. And like I said, when I first got this, I was reading reviews and shit, and a lot of people had problems saying that the clutch went out, the slipper clutch went out just during break-in. Well, one thing with Traxxas is, as soon as you get it, usually their slipper clutches are a little loose. So fix that, tighten it just a tad, not much. I had to do it with this. The slipper clutch is right here on this one. This is just a single speed, but it still gets up. It's a higher revving engine. It'll get up to about 40 to 45 mile an hour. I've clocked this 67. Has 6.3 inch tires. Comes with a wheelie bar, because if you get the mixture just right, it will do wheelies, and it will, if you get it set just right, it will do wheelies and shift into second gear. So you'll be doing 40 to 50 mile per hour wheelies, and that's pretty good, seeing that it's 4-wheel drive. This one, not so much, because it doesn't have as much low end torque. This one is a big block, so it's got a lot of torque. And like I said, it comes with all the tools you need. And don't worry about this one. This one's for my Hellion, but it can still be used. All the Allen wrenches. But I do suggest, I have Cobalt. I got Allen wrenches with the round end, so I can get it from different angles and it'll still grab, because regular Allen wrenches, you have to hit it straight on. If you go at it from an angle, it won't bite. A con about the Nitro Sport is when it gets hot and it shuts off, it will actually start pushing the fuel out of the fuel line and back into the tank, and then you've got to hold your finger on the exhaust. And one thing I did with my exhaust is I pointed it straight down, because a problem I always had was you only have this little cutout right here, and I would be running and then this little part right here would cover up my exhaust. Well, that's no good, because you need the exhaust to get out as fast as you can. The faster you can get the air in and the burnt fuel out, the better it's going to run. And also, one thing about these is as lean as you can get them and still have them running is where you will get the best performance for these. And this actually has the same fuel system. As you see, it has a little tube coming from the exhaust pipe. It's just plastic. Goes to the fuel tank, causing a pressure differential, pushing the fuel. That's why you hold the exhaust and all of the pressure that's built up, all the compression that's built up will actually push into this and push fuel through the fuel line to the high-speed port. I will also suggest basically cut a radiator hole on the front and the top, because what it will do is it will flow air through it and then come out right here. And I'll show you right now real quick. It'll go right over the engine and then come off. And it'll also go over the spur gear a little bit and brakes to keep them cool. Like I said, it does have disc brakes, but it's just right at the transmission. I do want to put some actual hydraulic disc brakes on it. Other than that, that's pretty much it. One thing I am going to show you is all the things that I have. I also have my plane right there. Upgraded motors. This is what's been beeping the whole damn time. These are all my tools. All my extras. I have a couple. This is all my tools, extra parts, digital volt ohm meter, RPM sensor, a lot of extra pieces. Screws, there's a cobalt set, of course a drill, there's my joystick that I have, silicone heavy duty lubricant. Here's the stock tires for my Hellion, which is actually right there. I also have a Losi 1/24 scale, but the thing I don't like about it is it actually uses 27 megahertz. Don't like that. But remember, one thing I do use is a rechargeable batteries for everything that takes double or AAA batteries. But with the Traxxas, you can actually get a 2-cell nickel metal hydride battery that can be recharged, but it's always better to go with lithium polymer. Here's a glow plug for the 3.3. It's actually a medium heat long reach. I just got these yesterday. That's for the Tmaxx. Here's just some spare OS, but they're hot. As you can see, glow plug number 3, hot. I also have some separate glow plugs. These are the 3230. Those are for the Pro 0.15. That's the Nitro Sport. So I have a lot of extra glow plugs because your glow plugs are going to go out. One thing I will stress when it comes to the difference between nitro and electric. Nitro has a hell of a lot more maintenance that you have to do. As you see, I have a shitload of tools and a lot of extra parts from everything I've gone through. And yes, I also play guitar. I've got a lot of videos for that shit. This is just my bedroom. Another thing I will suggest is get yourself a Dremel and a good Dremel set. I'll get this up real quick. As you see, I got the extra piece, buffing set, grinding set, cutting and grinding, actual cutting. I got the next to the best, basically the best Dremel that they have. This is the 4000 series. The next up is the 4200 series, but the only difference is up here it has the quick change. Well, I'm happy with the quick change that comes with it, and it actually nicely comes with a some extra little parts. And as you can see, it comes with the quick change. Let's see if I can find that real quick to show it. It makes it so you can switch from bit to bit a lot faster. I'm not seeing it at the moment, and I am trying to make this. Oh, there it is. See, here's a quick change. It's spring loaded, and you can just pop things on and off really fast. I'm not really worried about that. I don't mind taking 30 seconds to change out a bit. But you're going to need a Dremel for the different things that you do. I wouldn't say need, but it is a very nice thing to have. I also have a grinding and carving set, because I do modifications on my engines, on my basically with the Pro 0.15, you can make it the 2.5 just by doing a little porting and making the intake port a little bigger. Make it a 1/4 inch taller, and you'll get more power because it has more room for the air to come in. So definitely, I do suggest getting a Dremel. It makes life a lot easier. Drill just does not spin fast enough, so I don't even think I really showed the Dremel. Really nice thing about this is you can set your speed. Instead of, as soon as you turn it on, it starts spinning. You can set your speed and then turn it on. And it's got a little lock button to lock the collet in place so you can replace your bits. Anybody who knows Dremels knows that the 4000 series is basically the best. Why is it not shutting? Oh, wire's in the way. So that's pretty much everything for this video. It's mainly an overview of the Tmaxx. I haven't had many problems with it, but do be aware, with anything that deals with friction material, as it gets hotter, oh yeah, it comes with a little, it is a fast charger, but it comes with a nickel metal hydride. That's for the quick start, the easy start, and that's to charge the battery. But 12 volt for a freaking car, don't understand.